Everyone, how's it going? So I made this video because it was very interesting and I wanted to talk about it because this is actually coming out of my training that's coming out I would say later this week on how you can grow an audience of 10k in less than 90 days. And it's something very interesting because I really want to cover it. So let's say like you're just starting out and you want to get from 0 to like 10k, because I think 10k is a pretty decent following. You can pretty much do most of the stuff you would want to do with 10k on Instagram because it's a lot easier to interact with people. So that's what I recommend, and that's what I'm going to make a training about because I've personally done it as well too. So but this is actually coming out of that training, so watch out for that. I'm going to make sure maybe there will be a waiting list underneath this video for that. Hopefully I don't forget to do that. Anyways, module 1. So this is basically, I'm going to talk about the difference between good and bad content, because like this is actually included in the first module, because I go over the algorithm and stuff, because I think it's important to understand how it works because it's very weird. And I'm just gonna break down all the stupid stuff inside. So Instagram algorithm is a weird one, and it's constantly always changing due to competition, and there's a lot of things I'm gonna go over. So I'm just gonna go over the simple basics of this. So why the algorithm affects what is good and what is bad, and the difference between good and bad content objectively and in terms of like the algorithm. So let's get into that. So good versus bad content. So what makes the algorithm go, yeah, this is bad versus yeah, this is good? Because there's a lot of videos, and there's a lot of videos that talk about like you have to create amazing content, you have to create good content, but like what does good content actually mean? Because they don't actually give you any sort of pointers. They just tell you, oh, create amazing content, create good content, but like what does that mean? So I'm gonna break it down what exactly good content actually is in terms of the algorithm. So in terms of how we see good content, this is very objective, because a lot of people are going to argue and be like, oh, good content is something that has yellow or something like that. I'm just thinking here. So I would say good content is essentially something that is easy to understand. So easy to understand and easy to consume. That's what I would recommend good content means. So for example, if I saw like a video and everything was just pitch black and I couldn't see anything, and there was just a person talking in the background and the audio quality is crap, if he's actually giving a lot of information, I'll still say this is bad content, because like it's not easy to understand and it's just not appealing to look at. So I would say good content is just something that's easy to understand and easy to look at in terms of how we see good content. So in terms of how the algorithm sees good content is actually very different. So the way the algorithm sees good versus bad is basically based on data. So for example, I'm going to show you a really cool example here. So this is a person that I follow a lot, and he makes videos on how on programming and stuff like that. And he actually made a very interesting video. So he made this video called "Let's Build the Dynamic Island." I don't know if you've heard of this, but the new iPhones at least, by the time you're watching this, it might be old iPhones. I think the iPhone 14 has this like dynamic island thing where like when you get calls, you can like click on it, and like it's really cool. And he actually coded this on in like CSS and stuff like that. So that was really cool. And the reason why but he only got like, let's say, 45,000 views on this. And in this other video, he was just literally just showcasing other people's websites, and he got like 100,000 views on this video. So how come this probably higher quality video got 45,000 views, and then this one that probably took him a couple minutes to make got him 100,000 views? So when I hear a lot of people trying to give this explanation of like, oh, sometimes you might make something, it will take you 5 minutes and then you get more views, versus when you make something for 2 hours, you only get to like 10k views, and people don't explain why that's the case. But I think I've got like a pretty decent understanding on why that's the case. So he gets consistent views, but notice, like I said, top right and bottom left. So difference is he spent more time to make this more higher quality content, and he spent less time on this one and it's not as high quality as this one, objectively at least. So what gives? So the good content based on the algorithm is basically something that people that consume very quickly and is similar to everything else out there. So there's a lot of videos like, you know, this bottom star video, there's a lot of them in this like programming space. So the algorithm thinks necessarily that it's good, and what that means is that it's going to start recommending that to other people essentially. So for example, if other people are kind of creating similar content like this and they're getting like pretty decent views, the algorithm is going to go like, okay, the data is telling me that this is similar to what other people are doing. Let me just push this out to people that like what other people are doing essentially. So good content is basically just based on what the algorithm thinks the majority of people would have an interest in, based on the data it has on the style of content, guys. So for example, why I would say this didn't get that much views is because this was actually a very custom video and the algorithm didn't have a bunch of data on this type of style. So when he made this, algorithm didn't really have a huge base of a huge amount of data to recommend this type of content to. So we're just like, okay, I'm not too sure if I should recommend this to people, but I'll recommend this to a few people. Versus this one, where this style of content is like a lot more common. The algorithm knows exactly what the video is. It's like, okay, I know exactly the type of people that are going to consume this content. I'm just going to push it out to people. So basically, what is good and what is bad to the algorithm is literally just based on data. So the same thing applies with my previous example before. If someone's talking in a pitch black room and everything is just dark, like algorithm doesn't really have like a good base point to recommend that to, because there isn't enough people out there that like that type of content essentially, which is what I would like to believe at least. But yeah, that's basically the difference between good and bad content. So in summary, it's all just based on data. So if you can just make your content just pretty appealing, and your content should be like, easy on the eye, there's no reason why the algorithm wouldn't really recommend your content to other people essentially. So make sure that your content is appealing, your content is kind of similar, not too similar, but kind of similar to what's already out there, and you're gonna have a pretty decent base of like people to recommend this to. I'm gonna go a lot more in depth into why this is the case and why data is so important for the algorithm in my whole like training, which is coming up later this week. So you guys should stay subscribed for that. That's gonna be huge. I think it's gonna be pretty much better than most of the courses out there, because a lot of them don't have a lot of good data. Not data, information. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Speak to you very soon. Make sure to subscribe and do all that cool stuff. Peace out.